Hello everyone, my name is Mona Rahimi, Certified Grief Recovery Method Specialist. I've started to do these informative and educational videos on recognizing loss, on processing grief, and on recovery, which is getting better, and I'm posting them on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Mona GRMS, Grief Recovery Method Specialist. GRMS Rahimi, Rahimi. And if you subscribe to my channel, then you will have easy access to all these videos and the future ones. Today's topic is very, very important. It is what to say and what not to say to a griever. A Grief Recovery Method Institute's definition of grief is a natural and normal response to loss of any kind. But unfortunately, we all have been socialized to believe that these feelings that we're having are abnormal and unnatural. Grief is the most neglected and the most misunderstood experience, um, both by grievers and the people around grievers. So let's get into it. What should we not say and what should we say to a loved one, a friend, an associate when they are they have experienced a loss and they are grieving? Um, when when we've experienced a loss, there are we automatically say things like, "Oh, I'm a mess. My God, I'm overwhelmed. I can't handle this anymore." Um, these are the words that we automatically use, but what we really are saying is that I don't want to feel what I'm feeling. And what we really are feeling is sadness, and we are grieving, and we are devastated about a circumstance or an event that has happened. So when we visit someone that is experiencing a loss, has experienced a loss, these are the things that we should not do or say. Please don't say be strong. Do not say don't cry. Don't say give it time. Time will heal all wounds, because it does not. Don't tell them to replace the loss. Don't tell them to stay active, to stay busy. When you tell someone to replace the loss, we are opening the door for a lot of future problems. A lot of people, like our veterans or our a lot of people, they do not know how to handle their emotions. When we tell people not to feel the way they feel and replace it with something else, well, a lot of people replace it with alcohol, with drugs, with excessive exercising, with excessive behavior, and this will turn into, they go on a very dangerous path, which can become hurtful to themselves and to their future. So don't say be grateful for, don't say at least, and then whatever follows, it's not going to be good. We sometimes think that something that is intellectually accurate might help the griever. But let me tell you, 15 years ago in a massive house fire, I lost my son. And to save him, I almost died. I was hospitalized for a couple of months. I was in an induced coma. I wasn't able to breathe on my own. I had third-degree burns. And when I had a daughter that was unharmed during this event, and I had to take care of her. So when I came home, I received a lot of statements and advices, all from a place of love. all from that they were concerned about me and how I am going to process my grief. And let me tell you, all of the things that I mentioned, um, people told me, be grateful that your face didn't burn. Um, you can have another child, replace it with. Be grateful that your daughter was unharmed. Again, intellectually accurate, but I had lost a son and I was grieving. And so I was told that don't cry, in front of your daughter. And um, so I heard it all. And as a grief recovery specialist and as a griever, I can 100% assure you that none of these helped me with my grief. Um, it actually, when we tell people not to feel the way they're feeling, we are creating we are already, as grievers, we are feeling conflicted feelings. And then people tell us not to feel what we're feeling. So we decide to isolate and we decide to go um, and cry alone by ourselves. So don't compare losses. Um, when someone is experiencing loss, they are feeling the grief at 100% intensity. I remember when someone told me that, I understand what you're feeling. I lost my dog. I mean, we should not say to people that I understand what you feel, but I was offended when he said that. But now I know that that person was feeling his grief at 100% intensity, and he probably could understand what was I feeling. But avoiding statements like this is when people are grieving is advisable. Um, when we compare losses, when we say, well, look at that person, he lost. I had a friend that told me, well, my uncle lost two kids, and I was thinking to myself, I am really sorry that he lost two kids, but how on earth stating that statement is helping me with my recovery, with my grief. So don't say, at least you have your health, or you have your daughter, or you have your you're young enough and you can get married again when someone is going through a divorce. So these are the things you're probably thinking, wow, um, what is left to say? Grievers don't need to be fixed. They need to be heard. And all of these statements were trying to fix the grieving person. So what we need to do is we need to acknowledge what they're feeling, and we need to validate um, that what they're experiencing is okay. We can say to them, um, I cannot even begin to understand what you're feeling. I cannot begin to understand, I cannot imagine what kind of conflicting feeling you're feeling right now. I wish I knew what to say. I don't know what to say. I am so saddened by this. Um, there are some statements that people use when they see a griever. They say, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry for your loss, or my condolences. These are okay to use. They're not really harmful like the other ones that I say don't use. But we can maybe make it a little bit more personalized. We can add, feeling and say, I'm so sorry to hear about, and whatever the situation is. We can ask our grievers to tell us more on what happened. Um, and then we can ask them questions and in the form of putting the feelings in the question. You know, are you sad? Did that make you upset? Was that devastating? Did that make you feel better? When we put these questions to them, we're actually kind of allowing them to share with us what they're feeling, and we are letting them voice their feelings, and that's what grievers need. Grievers need to voice what is happening in their heart. What we're trying to do is we're trying to shift from head to heart. Intellectually accurate, emotionally not. Switch them. And when you switch to heart, then you become a heart with two ears. You can listen to them. You can validate them. You can, and when you do that, and they share, and then please, absolutely no judgments. It is extremely important that we do not judge people that are grieving, that we can create a safe zone for our grievers so they can share their feelings with us without being hesitant or without thinking, oh my God, what are they going to think about us? You know, after all these years of doing grief recovery and after 15 years of, grieving and being a griever, I still am afraid of other people saying that I am weak. But I am working on myself, and I am telling myself that, encouraging myself that, yes, being vulnerable is being strong. Crying is okay when you are experiencing loss. Sadness is okay. It is okay not to be okay for that moment. And that will give me permission, and that will allow me to feel the feelings, to feel the hurt that I am feeling. Sometimes grievers, after, I don't know, a couple of years, as had happened from the time that you experience the loss and you're still sad or mad or upset, and then you hear your friends and your well-wishers that say, well, it's time for you to move on, that you can't stay in this place. Well, they don't know what you're feeling. If they say we know how you feel, they don't. So that's another thing that we shouldn't say. I know how you feel. No, you don't. We are each unique as individuals, and our grieving process is unique. I cannot tell someone else that has lost a child that I understand how you're feeling. What I can say to them is, I had a similar experience and I remember how painful it was, and it is. That can be helpful, but not saying that I understand. We don't understand. I don't understand how someone else feels when they're experiencing a loss of any kind. And there are 41 losses that we have identified at Grief Recovery Method. So please be very caring when you are around grievers. Be very gentle. Be understanding. No judgment at all. When we allow our grievers to grieve, when we tell them that it is okay to feel they feel, then they can give permission to their other family members to grieve. because then we don't have to pretend to be strong, and we don't have to act as recovered, and then we can allow them to allow others to feel the hurt. I really wish that someone told me that, asked me, "Are you sad? I cannot imagine a more appropriate feeling. Do you want to cry? I cannot imagine a more appropriate thing to do because you have lost a child." And one more thing that I would like to add is, please do not restrict grievers, um, even for recovery. You know, I was told a lot of times, and I read this a lot, and it kind of, bothers me that when you tell someone that, oh my God, there's nothing worse than, more devastating than loss of a child, you will never recover. Well, yes, it is devastating. Yes, it is a very, very difficult loss, but you can recover. When you put restriction on it, then as a mother, if I start to feel a recovery and I start to feel that when I remember the memories, they're not painful anymore, they're fond and bitter and sweet memories, then I start to feel like, oh my God, am I not a good mother? That I am not feeling the pain anymore? No, it is okay now to be okay. At that time, it was okay not to be okay, but then we can get better. Recovery is possible. Um, I remember, just add one more thing, that when I experienced my loss, I received a lot of statements and advices, and there was this one lady. She was my mother's friend, and she um, told when she saw me, she said, "My heart melts for you." And I remember when she said it, where she said it, and I remember the hug she gave me. Um, it stuck with me. And please, hugs are very therapeutic. You can ask for permission to be around. Please don't ask grievers how they are, because they're gonna say they're fine, and they're not. So ask them if you can come back, and set a time then, because they might say yes, but then if you think that they're going to call you to say come over, they will not. So ask them if they need help with picking up their children, help with grocery shopping, help with, little things in the house, anything that can allow them to process their grief, that you are there for them. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me at 818-458-4054, or email me, Mona Rahimi, GRM@gmail.com. I would be more than happy to start a conversation and see where it goes. Thank you so much for listening.